About 4 weeks ago, Bert-Jan, standing right over there, he asked me, Roy, can you host the Ignite sessions? Oh, okay, cool, yeah. What do I need to do? Well, it's very easy. First, welcome the audience. Welcome. Next, explain the rules of the Ignite session. Well, these are the rules. Each presenter, we have 8 in total, or one duo presentation, so 9 in total. Get 20 slides, auto forward every 15 seconds, and the goal is enlighten us, but make it quick. So they get 5 minutes. That was easy, right? Okay. The only thing left to do for you is to introduce the speakers. And here's the schedule. And for the last 2 weeks, I couldn't sleep because of that. And he's up first, so put your hands together for Alexander Chatzizacharias.
Yes. Hi. Yeah, wonderful. I'm gonna try something new. No slides. Oh no, I'll try one-handed. I'm gonna talk about hardcore gaming. And when I submitted the Ignite, I was like, well, what better way to talk about games than actually playing a game? So I hacked something together. I'm by no means a designer or anything, so it looks awful, but I hope you get the idea. So let's get going. So this is me, Alexander Chatzizacharias, as you very well said, and I'm a hardcore gamer. And how hardcore do you ask? Well, Xbox gives you a year in review, and in 2015 I was together with. I've been an Xbox member since 2007, and I gamed in 2015 for 3,144 hours on just Xbox Live. My friends gamed 957 hours, which makes them filthy casuals and never want to talk with them again. And on average, the community spent 368 hours, which is, well, surprisingly low. And that places me in the top 1% of hours spent on Xbox Live in 2015. Thank you very much, thank you very much. But that's not all. There is a game called World of Warcraft. I spent 274 hours in World of Warcraft. In Dota 2, I've spent 220 days. At the moment, because of my job, I game around 20 hours a week. But when I was at college and university, my prime time, I easily hit the 60 hours a week, maybe even more. So, how it all started? Well, it started with Mario, as many of you might know. Nintendo, Super Nintendo, all that kind of stuff. And Duck Hunt. Everybody knows that, right? And everybody knows this filthy dog that keeps laughing at you when you miss, right? Very frustrating if you're a 10-year-old kid. Furthermore, then I started gaming, and eventually all my friends were also gamers. And I only hang with gamers. And at one moment, I noticed whenever I was frustrated or angry or whatever, I started, World of Warcraft, or anything like that to just cool off. So, that's a bit my history. So why do I still play games? Well, because I love good stories. For example, Halo. Everybody knows the Master Chief, right? Coolest person ever, right? Or Mass Effect 1 and 2, 3 was a little bit of a bummer. And of course, Assassin's Creed, also a pretty popular game. Okay, there we go. And what I also really like about games is that you can go into from a forest to a city or any kind of area, with a switch of a button or anything like that. Or, as you can see, a sci-fi setting. So this is also the first time I gamed in front of such an audience, so God. And, as you can see, you can go anywhere you want, just whenever you want. Furthermore, well, you can go into little towns and do whatever you want. And what's really nice is, if you want to, you can be the absolute asshole and just kill everything around you. That's possible in games. I know that makes me sound like an evil person, but yeah, it's just sometimes it's really liberating that you have the freedom to do whatever you want. What's also really nice about games is that, well, I live in the Netherlands, and because of games, I can socialize and talk with people, for example, the United States, or, well, another popular gaming country, for example, there we go, damn it. A little hack, just in case stuff goes bad. Sweden, a lot of Swedish people. And because of this, I've learned to curse in more than 10 languages, which can be really handy. And as developers, you probably know the crunch time. I also tend to crunch a lot. Well, games help me relax and help me escape the, well, every day of the endless crunch to get that one project done on time. And that's, yeah, for me, games are really just the perfect hobby. And some of you might, well, kind of expect a sort of Mr. Miyagi wax on, wax off moment, why games are so awesome or whatever. I don't really have that. I really just love talking about games and things like that. So, yeah, that was pretty much it. I could say I'll become more sociable or I become a programmer because I game. But I don't think that's necessarily true. It's more that, well, because of games, I just wanted to explore code, and eventually I liked it. And in the end, that's made in the time, just 5 minutes, and that was my Ignite session. Thank you very much.
Next up, we had Erwin Hoeckx. And the title of his talk was "Software Delivery is Like a Pregnancy." He's not here. His wife gave birth this night. True story. True story. But we have replacement. So, come on up, Erik. And for you, almost.
Okay.
Go.
Started? Okay.
Go.
15 seconds. So this is software is like delivering a baby, a pregnancy, and it's actually true. I don't know if everybody can hear me, but this is Floris was born this morning. JPoint. Erwin should be here instead of me, but due to this, it's not possible. Yeah, it's going to talk about IT projects and the relationship with a pregnancy, and yeah, both is pretty hectical. That's the case, and it's very important to look at the most important things. Prioritize your user stories, make the most significant things, realize those first. That's in an IT project and also in realizing a baby. Is that the case? Think big. Yeah, obvious. You really, in a pregnancy, you get your wife gets really big, and IT projects tend to grow and grow and grow. 15 seconds is sometimes a bit longer than you think. You need to do, yeah, risk-based. It's very important to have all the requirements right, and that you put on your risks and manage your risk in the right way, so you either have a good project or not. Raise your kids well, start early. The same with coding. Code well, your code gets better. Raise your kids well, you invest in the future. Your kids have a good education. Don't look at the tiny details, because it's much better to look at the big picture. If you focus on the big, on the little details, you miss the big picture. For kids, it's the same as for a pregnancy. Once you are developing, you should never bother the programmers. That's also the case with pregnancy. You should not bother your wife too much during the pregnancy. It really can cause some strange behavior. And it's very, very important to get certified. Really be able to understand what your wife is going through. For coding, it's the same. You need to be certified to deliver the right stuff. You have milestones, very easy to see in a project. But also in a pregnancy, you have the sonic, where you can see is everything going well, and you have the talks at the doctor to see if everything is going well. Yeah, get the production environment ready on time. Very, very important, especially in a pregnancy. You don't want to have no bed available for your baby. You want to have everything in place at the right time. Now, same for software projects. Budget. There are always budget issues. Projects tend to get out of hand with budget, but also if you're wanting to raise a kid, it can really cost a lot of money if you want to take them to college. Yes, this slide I didn't understand. It's very. He explained it to me that you have to have the right tools for projects. I understand, but a walk for a pregnancy, yeah, really. He's from Friesland, so maybe it's something of that area. Yeah, the deadline. It's very important and very typical of today because it's delivered before time, so that's actually not a very good relationship with an IT project most of the time. Have a checklist ready. Very important for delivering your product to production, but also very handy to have when it's time to deliver the baby. You need to have everything ready to go to the hospital, for example, and celebrate the moment of truth when you deliver the project, but also when the baby is born. And this is his first. This was in September. It was in 2015. Yeah, after everything is in production, of course, you have support. That's the case in IT projects, but also with kids. You need to support them through their entire lifetime, and especially in the early ages, learning stuff. Lessons learned, very important if you want to move on and have a second baby, like Erwin did this time. Have a retrospective, see what went wrong, what went well, and learn from it and do that better the next time. Think before you act. Yeah, sometimes it might seem tempting to have a baby or a kid, but might not be the case. Same IT projects. Sometimes it seems very tempting to do that project, but it might not be the case. Think before you act. And at the end, you see what you get. This is Sophie, this first daughter, and this morning Floris was born. So Floris J. Hoeckx. Congratulations, Erwin. This was my talk.
Thank you. Grab a present.
Hi, my name is Turk, and I'm really a huge fan of Home Improvement. Home Improvement is a television series, and I'm also nowadays a big fan about Internet of Things. But what is Home Improvement? Home Improvement is an American sitcom in the 90s, and it's about a guy who's living in Detroit, and he has his own Tool Time show, and he is the host of that. What is Tool Time? Tool Time is it's a cool show with Tim Taylor. He's the host of it. Al Borland, he was his assistant, and you have Lisa, the Tool Time girl, and she was Pamela Anderson. Tim, the Taylor Toolman, tries to improve everything. He's like a man. He's doing everything. When he's inventing some things, he's doing and yeah, he's a little bit clumsy, and he really likes a lot of tools, and he likes to invent new things, like a man bedroom, and he can even check or invent a toilet on wheels or something like that. He's just a little bit crazy like us developers, and we are a kind of Tim Taylor. We really like to invent new things, and we really like it. And yeah, and if you want to start yourself, you can begin, for example, with buying an IoT board. There are a lot of IoT boards nowadays. For example, you have a Raspberry Pi, a Thinkerforge, and you can all do funny things with it. Just keep it simple. Begin with a simple application like automating your doorbell. Very cool. If someone on the door, you're sitting on your couch with your beer, man beer, and yeah, you try to unlock your door from your couch. How cool is that? Yeah, keep it simple. You can also buy an Amazon Echo. It's a speech recognition device, and you can build your own beer application or something. And there's a special API for it, a skills API. Everyone can use it if you have an Echo. And yeah, you can do really cool things with it. You just call Alexa, give me some beer. I would want to know the weather. But you have also the Oral-B toothbrush, also pretty cool. You can program against that. It's smart because it's having a web API, and yeah, you can program against it. And that's pretty cool. But sounds stupid, some ideas, but here you have a smart diaper. How stupid is that? But it can be very handy, especially if you have some kids, like Erwin now. I hope he buy a smart diaper now. So yeah, but what is important is that you check your security, change passwords of your Wi-Fi, for example, secure your endpoints. That is really important to do. Otherwise, you will be hacked your refrigerator by some baby bean, and that's not good to done. There's also a refrigerator, Samsung refrigerator. It's pretty cool. It's now in America. It's you can see what's in your refrigerator and like your beer. So you can in the supermarket you check your app. Hey, I don't have any beer, and you can just buy some beer or something. Or you can buy a steak, for example. You have June, this the smart oven. So you go, you will buy a steak, and it will detect, hey, this is a steak, and yeah, I want it rare or something, or medium, and it will, yeah, see it. Or you buy this mini brew. This is also really neat. It's a mini brew. You can brew your own beer at home. It's a new Dutch invention. It's really cool. I saw it. You can download an app for it and check all kind of neat things. And this means no free, by the way, no free beer, by the way. And next slide. We'll wait. I want beer now. But there's a lot of information available on the internet. Intel Internet of Things, the Internet of Shit is also pretty cool. Dutch Cowboys and Program Web. If you want to program, there are a lot of APIs on that site. My name is Turk. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. Grab a present. Who's up next? Peter.
So, hi everybody. I'm Peter van Voorde. I'm from Belgium, so there's a Belgian guy here and at least one German, maybe somebody else. So, and I work for Atlassian. Who here knows Atlassian? Wonderful. And I'm going to talk about getting out of your comfort zone. So, you can see your comfort zone. It's like, you can imagine it like being a circle. Everything inside feels comfortable and nice. Everything outside is dangerous and, oh, you don't want to get there. But as your comfort zone grows, everything else, there's more and more things just outside of your comfort zone. When you're really, really tiny, your comfort zone is really, really small. It's nice and hot and warm and cozy. And then suddenly something happens. Like this night, something happened for Erwin. Bam! Your comfort zone just expanded. Now there's an entire world to discover. But in the beginning, the comfort zone is still in your mother's arms, your dad's arms, or if he's throwing you up. Okay, it can happen. But it's still nice and quiet and fun. But then you go to school, you make friends. Your comfort zone is expanding again. You're learning lots and lots and lots of new things. And that's wonderful, that's fun. I have two little boys and they're learning all the time. And I'm actually relearning lots and lots of things because of them. Then you find that special one. You find a partner. Again, your comfort zone expands. You learn about the things they like, the things they do. And again, new things happen. You meet new people. You have fun together. Then this happens. Work. Boring life, work. Day in, day out, you go to your job. You sit there in your cubicle or at your desk and do whatever job you're doing right now or something that might be really boring. And then you start feeling like this. I'm bored. Is this going to be the rest of my life? I hope this guy isn't thinking this already, but still. So, and you're thinking about, okay, is this really going to be the rest of my life? And then again, something happens to most of us. We get a midlife crisis. And we buy fancy cars, we get a divorce, we do something crazy, we buy a Harley Davidson, we crash it. All of those things can happen. Or something else can happen. We can actually become like this guy. Just lay down on our couch, waiting for death to take us. And that's it, and that's our life, and that can be your life. Or you could do something else. You could actually get out of your comfort zone. Because, let's wait for it, life begins at the end of your comfort zone. Get out there, explore. There's a whole world out there, and you have no idea what's going to happen. And how do you do this? How do you start getting out of your comfort zone? Well, maybe you can move to the other side of the world. Get a new job there. We're hiring. But you don't have to be that drastic, actually. You can start pretty small. You can start by taking on a new hobby. For example, start playing an instrument. Or take on cooking lessons, or maybe start some idea you have for a new program or a new app or something, and just start playing around with it in your evening hours or in the weekend. Or you can go back to school and learn something totally new and meet new people. Or you can do like I did, start speaking at conferences. It was my dream. I was inspired by Sven Peters, lots of great speakers I saw at Devox. I wanted to do the same thing, so I started submitting abstracts, started talking at conferences. And now I'm here working for Atlassian. You can do like this guy, Daniel Wester. He used to be an in-house Java developer for CNN. Now he runs his own company, building tools for the Atlassian ecosystem. And he's enjoying it, he's traveling the world and having fun. And once you get out of your comfort zone, it keeps on expanding. And suddenly the entire world is going to be your comfort zone. You can feel comfortable everywhere with anybody and just have fun, enjoy it, and learn. And once you start taking those small steps, you know that it's just a small step outside of your comfort zone. You can always take one step back, you're back inside the comfortable feeling. And there will always be people there to help you. So it's just a little step to get out there. And this is one of my favorite quotes from one of my favorite movies, The Shawshank Redemption. I guess it comes down to a simple choice. Get busy living or get busy dying. And because every single presentation, in my opinion, needs one more thing slide. This is slide 19. There's one slide after this one. Guess who is going to be on there? No way? There we go. Yes. Steve Jobs. Stay hungry, stay foolish. Thank you very much.
Grab a present. Who's up next?
My name is Erwin, but I didn't receive a baby this night, luckily. Who of you works with user-facing applications? Good. For anyone working with user-facing applications, it's really helpful to know about graphical design. Design is about communication. With your design, you tell your user how your product works, or you tell them. Okay, design makes your product stand out among other products. It makes the users trust your product. It allows you to give the right information. And if your design is bad, your users will go away and use another product. So, why should I care as a developer about design? Well, the designers are not always available. And a lot of time you work on UI stuff by yourself. And also, it helps you understand designers and designs very better if you know about design yourself. So the topics I want to handle are fonts, colors, font size, and proportions. And I will give small tips which in your daily situations will help you with all of these questions. So first up is text. If you think about fonts, we have two main groups. We have sans serif fonts and we have serif fonts. And the sans serif fonts are the ones without the lines and the serif with the lines on the end. And basically, when you have text with a lot of body text, you use the serif fonts, and for headings, you use the sans serif fonts. So if you choose your fonts, it helps you to limit the fonts to only 2. And they shouldn't be too similar, because it will really look weird. So in practice, if you choose these 2 fonts, make a combination of a serif font and a sans serif font. Also, why just not make your combinations of fonts now? And whenever you have to use text, just pick any of these combinations and it will look great. You don't have to think about new fonts for every design you make. Sometimes you see something, you see a design, and it immediately seems right. So the key to this is proportions. If you have good proportions, then for you the feeling that you get for a design, well, that it looks right. Compare the left and the right. On the right side, these images look a lot more interesting. That's because a proportion between 60 and 80% is used. If you know the golden ratio, that's about 62%. This was also used when the new Twitter logo was designed. It's actually 2 circle sizes they used, which have a fixed proportion with each other, and they use it to guide the sizes of all the shapes. So you can do a lot with proportion. You can even use it for what size of text you use. Instead of just choosing random sizes of text, take a scale, and in this scale, each size is about 75% of the next. So from this scale, you can pick your size. And remember, bigger is better. So on the web, use at least a font size of 16. 16, lower than 16 makes it unreadable and not so nice to the eye. And also on mobile devices, 16 will look much better. Color is a really important form of communication. All the smileys who don't actually smile, they look the same, but you immediately know that the green one means good and the red one means bad. That is because we associate color with emotions. For instance, blue triggers the trust emotion, and red is youthful or bold, and green, of course, is healthy. So in practice, we see that in good designs, only a very limited set of colors is used. Just one color and some accent colors, or one color and even some shades of gray. So don't overdo it with your colors. Just pick 1 or 2 colors and add grayscales. The most used colors are red, blue, gray, actually, and yellow. And these are associated with themes. So think about your message first, what the color means, and based on your message, you will choose your color. So what will we take away from this talk? Stick with the few proven font combinations. Don't invent new fonts all the time. Use a font size of at least 16 points or bigger. And try to use proportions with major and minor areas, and your proportions should be consistent and somewhere between 60 and 80%. And the final one, pick one color and just use an accent color or shades of gray. I just learned that we need to have one more extra slide, so this is mine. The key to a good design is to be consistent. Be consistent with your color, your font, and your sizes, and your design will end up really fine. Thank you.
Grab a present.
So we're going to talk about IPAs, IPAs, and some coffee with a bit of Java. So we will see a bit of useful situations in this presentation as well. Maybe you can even learn something here. But why this session? First of all, I mean, I like to have a bit of fun during my lunch breaks and not too much in-depth talks. Sometimes Ignite sessions tend to have lots of coding and difficult stuff, and I don't really like that. I want to enjoy my food. Unfortunately, it was not that good. So what's an IPA? An IPA was invented by the Englishmen when they traveled to India. Traveling to India takes a lot of time, and the normal English beer couldn't travel for that long. It wasn't tasteful anymore. So they added a lot of hops, and hops make sure that your beer is good for a longer period of time. So IPAs or Indian Pale Ales typically have lots of hops, depending on which one you choose. But where does it rank within all the beer brands that we have, or all the beer styles that we have? Because there are a lot of them. If you're not that into beer, you might expect that Pils is the only one, but there are a lot more of them. So this is a small part of it, and we zoom in, and we see that the Indian Pale Ale, which is at the top left, more or less, has a relation with the Pale Ale. Sounds quite logical, of course. And you even have a double IPA, which includes even more hops. So if you like hops, a double IPA is probably even better. But, I mean, what's an IPA? If you're living in Holland or around here, probably the Houblon Choux from Belgium is one of the most popular ones. You can get it everywhere. And Brewery at I also has one that is well known. But you also have the dark ones over there. Yeah, what's an IPA? An IPA is basically a way to extract something or to store something. So you get information, you store information. That's more or less it. And We can do the same with beer, because we can brew our own beer and then we can store it and make it available so that other people can use it as part of their IPA. And you can do it with kettles as this, but will be a bit expensive to use this when you start. But there are ways to start a bit easier, for instance, with a homebrew kit. One of the previous presenters already showed a bit more advanced kit. This is more manual, but you can add some electronics to it and make it more manageable and a bit cooler for geeks like us. And the fun stuff is, you have lots of Raspberry Pi and even Java applications and hardware that you can use while brewing beer. So actually, you can use your Java knowledge to brew a new type of beer. How cool is that? But sometimes you don't want to store beer, you just want to retrieve a beer, you want to drink a beer. But how do you select which beer you want to have? Of course, it's the green IPA over there, but there are so many choices. How do you pick a good one? You can, for instance, use a site like Rate Beer, where you can retrieve the top beers for one style or the top beers for a country, and based on that, you can go and order your own beers. So this is a nice IPA to figure out which beers you should try next. You can even search for breweries. Apparently the closest brewer I could find online was in Ede, over here. So you can even get your own beers here, local beers. It's good to try once, or maybe even often if you like it. And then we have Untapped. With Untapped, you can then store the information about the beer that you have drunk. So you can say if you like the beer and all that information. Be careful, if it ever goes on WikiLeaks, everybody knows how many beers you've drunk, so it's a bit tricky. So a bit more practical maybe for you. I don't like write hello world applications. I like to write applications that contain some data and interact with some things. That's much more useful and it's much more fun. And actually, there are brewery endpoints, APIs that we can use. So this is an API. You can use it for free. You can get beers. You can post beers. You can do all kinds of things with beers. So if you design your next test application, just use this API and you have some data for it. And there's even the beer mapping project that allows you to retrieve locations where you can find your beer, so your bar or your beer store. You can use that as well within your application. Okay, so I hope you had a bit of fun, maybe even learned a bit. At least I had fun preparing this session. It was better than preparing most of my other sessions. As you can see here, I tested a lot for you. And I can say IPAs, you should try one if you've never tried it before. But make sure you don't try too much. Great, thank you.
So, hello everybody, I'm Linda van der Pal and I'm the organizer of one of the Dutch DevOps for Kids events. And I've been asked a lot of times, how can I help my kids to learn programming? So I've prepared a list of some tools that are available in Dutch, which makes it a bit odd that I give this in English, but okay. So first of all, there are some online tools. The first of which is Scratch, which was developed by MIT especially for children. And as you can see here, there are some Lego-like code blocks that you can just click together and you get fast feedback. The next one is Code Studio, which has a similar interface, once again with the code blocks, but this time instead of free format coding, you get puzzles that are aimed at different age groups. Then there is Code Combat, which also offers puzzles, but this time uses a real programming language, Python or JavaScript, with some HTML and CSS on the side. But be very careful of that one, because it's highly addictive. It was hard to tear myself away while preparing this. The last of these is Turtle Academy, which uses the educational language logo. And you've got this little turtle that you can control with your code that draws a line so you can draw pretty pictures. Once again, puzzles and also free format. Then there are meetings. The first I want to mention, as I mentioned before, is DevOps for Kids. This gives nice introduction to programming in 3 workshops a day, several locations throughout the country. There is also Coder Dojo, which is similar but is a more periodical nature. They try to have meetings every month. These are free of charge and they're in 42 locations throughout the country, so there's probably one near you. Last of these is Fab Lab, which is not really intended for kids, and it's not really about programming either. It's more about technology and making. But as Simon Ritter always says, the best projects involve both programming and a set of woodworks. Then there are the offline tools. Dr. Technico's Robot Dictionary, which is a really fun game you can play with your kids. And it teaches them to program with simple drawn instructions, and they can program you, for example. I do that in primary schools a lot. Computer Science Unplugged has slightly more complicated exercises, still pen and paper, and you can teach about binary code, how images are stored, compressions, even algorithms. There are also some books. This is Hello Ruby by NLJUG, which is a storybook which explains programming from the viewpoint of the 6-year-old girl Ruby. And this is intended to be read to your children. From the Coder Dojo community, there is Create with Code, which is meant to be read by the kids themselves. And it's all about the nanonauts who start their own dojo to learn how to create their own website. And it also teaches you about how to start your own coding dojo. Next up is Programming for Children by Carol Vorderman. She's a British presenter who talks about math, science, and technology in a very approachable way. Unfortunately for us, her book has been translated into Dutch. There's also a board game about programming, which is intended for young children, which is why it's on the list, because it's in English, but the game itself doesn't involve any text. So long as the game master, most likely you, knows English, you're fine. Similar is Cubetto, although it's a lot more expensive, but then it comes with a cute wooden robot that you can control with large blocks that are suitable for small fingers, and you can even define some functions in there. Staying with the robots, there is Bbot, which you can program to go forward, back, and turn. And after executing each of those commands, it will stop, it will beep, and it will blink, so you can follow along as it executes your code. Lego has 2 programmable sets, the first of which is Lego WeDo, which is a rather simple programmable set which has motors and sensors and is hooked up to your computer, so it doesn't need any batteries. And there are some simple assignments available that in Dutch as well. For the slightly older kids, there is Lego Mindstorms, which is a lot more expensive, but it requires batteries as well, but that means you can make it a free-ranging robot. You can have a car that follows a line, or you have a walking robot. Moving from robotics to electronics, there is Makey Makey. This isn't really about programming. It's a circuit board you can use to turn, for example, bananas into a keyboard, which makes programming in Scratch a lot more fun. And finally, also expensive, is Little Bits, which is an electronics platform with electronic building blocks that are color-coded and magnetic. So you can very easily click together whole robots yourself, or this is something that involves a camera. It's got inputs, outputs, and you can pretty much make anything. So that's my list of resources. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Grab a present. The final presentation is a bit of an odd one. We're going to settle this once and for all now. To settle this battle, we have 2 very cool people. We have the Trekkie, Mark Heckler, and we have the Wookiee, Hendrik Ebbers. They both submitted 10 slides. They haven't seen each other's slides. I mixed them together, and I think you're up first. So take it away.
I will talk about Star Wars. Oh no, that's your one.
You're first.
Oh, okay, I'm up. Okay. Yes, well, we see some misguided but inspired fans, right? So that's a good thing. That's a dedicated fan base. Can everyone hear me? Okay, good. That's you.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, as you know, Star Wars is not only for men, it's for girls too, because you can see.
Okay. Yes, well, see, we have here a doctored photo. So this is Photoshop. This isn't reality, because reality is obviously so much cooler. So, you know, he had to take liberties. That's all I'm going to say.
Whoa, Wrecking Ball, yeah. So it's Star Wars is maybe some years old, but it's still cool and it still fits into modern music.
Oh my, okay, well, this is pretty much indefensible. The Gorn was, I guess it set a new standard for low, but fortunately it went up from there, right? That was early on, first season. And then this, wow, well, anyway.
Yeah, so who loves 8080s? Hands up. Woo. Perfect. So this is, I like this picture because, it's from the bad empire and it was destroyed by the rebellion. Oh, that's it.
Okay, was there ever a better villain than Khan? I mean, really, this is just awesome. And the second Khan notwithstanding, this is a definitive Khan, right? It doesn't get much better than this. So, props off to Ricardo Montalban.
Okay, yeah, this is about stormtroopers, right? Who can shoot, yeah, okay. So, in Star Trek, all the people, when they shoot, oh no, they fall asleep because it's not deadly. And in Star Wars, it's really deadly. It's a war. And
and here we go again. I don't understand the photoshopping out the best weapons. I mean, even in the sad little Star Wars movies, Han Solo talked about blasters. So anyway.
Okay, that's a lightsaber X and a lightsaber tree and a lightsaber arm. Yeah, so all the Jedis in Star Wars have this cool lightsabers, and it's not only about a lightsaber, you can have every kind of...
Okay, now I will just say this. If you listen to George Takei talk about this particular episode, it was embarrassing even for him to act it, because this was a dog with a stick-on horn. So, there's not much you can say about that. Yes, a real dog.
Oh yeah, Jar Jar. So this is one point. So we had the Java conference here, right? And this is Jar Jar. So Star Wars is even related to Java, right? Because it's like a double jar.
Okay. I will just say about the Jar Jar, please don't impugn Java that way. Now this is actually, again, a playoff of Voyager, which is kind of sad, but kind of creative. I give them that. Voyager was a great starship. This is just sad. Anyway.
Yeah, so here we see Obi-Wan with his new lightsaber, in Star Wars you have a lot of wise old people that are strong in the Force, that have a lot of knowledge, and people like King are making jokes about them.
Oh, wow. Okay, well, obviously this was the best security officer off of Star Trek Next Generation. Next to her is an extra from Star Wars, looks like. Not sure. Yeah, I'm sure that is. Yeah.
We have, in Star Wars, in Star Trek, all the alien races look like human. That in Star Wars, it's not the fact. There you have really aliens that look like animals or like...
That was the newest Jedi, by the way. Let's see, and this is the episode beloved by millions, which is The Trouble with Tribbles. Again, inexplicable. I don't know where to go with that, so...
Oh yeah. So, anybody in the room who don't love Chewbacca? So what should I say? Come on.
Oh boy. And again, back to the Star Wars Extra. I don't know what to say about this. Over here on the left, some of you wise Trekkies may understand that this was the attempt at a unisex type of garment. Which was commendable. I mean, it was a great way to equalize things. Unfortunately, it didn't really catch on with viewers, so it was scrapped. Again, back to Star Wars, I guess, here going to the right. So, are we done? Are we done?
Are you done?
I think we're done. Okay, let's take a vote. Let's take a vote. Who thinks Star Wars is the better of the two series categories? Science fiction series. Okay, that's about, what, 3, 4 of you? Okay, and then Star Trek? The right answer? Oh, that's much better. All right. Hey, thanks, everyone.
Grab a present. So, yeah. We still don't know. It's 50-50.
No, we do.
Maybe next year. Thanks for coming. That's it.